Ars wholeheartedly agrees with this, and both of them get ready to enter the nearby town to scout some talent. While moving through the front yard, Raven stops them and tells them to be on the lookout for a good mage, as a good wizard can be the key to winning a lost battle. Ars knows that his father doesn't have any magical talent, and once he handed Ars a magical gem to bring out his latent powers, but he turns out to have no aptitude for magic, and his father never asked him to try again. They leave their small county and wander off to the nearby town, which is much bigger than their small village town, and the people here seem to be more wealthy than those in his hometown. He tells Ray about how he wants his county to be like this one day, and Ray simply smiles while Ars starts searching for talent amongst the local population. Sadly, he can't find anyone with even above average skills, and sits down for a while after getting tired. Ray tells him not to worry, as this town has 50,000 people, which is 10 times more than their village town, so they will definitely find someone. While walking through the wide streets, Ars suddenly notices a small dingy alley where a bunch of poor people are sleeping in the open. He is surprised by this, as he wasn't expecting this huge city with so many rich people to have such poverty. Ray gives him a life lesson and tells him that every place that has a lot of rich people will have people living in extreme poverty, which makes Ars reconsider his dreams of making his village town like this city. A little while later, they enter the main market, and Ars's eyes start sparkling as he notices so many things being sold. Suddenly, he hears a man claiming to sell dragon eggs imported from a different continent, and Ars is immediately sold on the idea of having a pet dragon whom he can ride whenever he wants. He immediately asks the seller how much they cost, and with a sly smile, the seller replies that he will sell these extremely rare eggs for a price of 1 silver each. Ars immediately tells him that he will buy 3 and starts shuffling through his bag to get the money, when Ray pushes him back and puts a dagger on the seller's throat. He tells the seller that he dared to sell a noble counterfeit items which should be punishable by death, but the seller tells him that he didn't do anything wrong. Ray claims that he can't have these eggs imported officially or legally, as from the past 1 year, the import from other continents have been banned, which means that either he is lying or these items have been smuggled illegally. Moreover, dragon eggs are extremely rare, so how did a lowly idiot like him get so many of them? He then gets ready to eliminate this lying waste of air. When Ars forces him to stop, Ray immediately comes back to his senses and starts apologizing to Ars, accepting any punishment, but Ars tells him not to worry about it. Later, they sit down to have lunch, when Ars decides to get some dessert from a stall. To his surprise, a pickpocket runs into Ars, stealing his pouch of money and runs off with it. Ray immediately grabs Ars and starts running after the thief, who starts weaving in and out of the crowd, but Ray manages to snag the cloak off to reveal a young blue-haired girl. The girl hurries into an alleyway, and when Ray reaches there, he spots the girl being surrounded by some hoodlums, while one of them punches her to the ground. Ars tries to stop them, but the leader gets mad at him and tries to punch, but Ray immediately grabs his arm and punches him in the guts, knocking him out. The other 2 men rush in for an attack, but Ray makes quick work of them as well, knocking them to the ground and forcing them to run away. Ars looks at the girl through his magic eye that reveals that this young woman possesses S-rank magic skills. He cannot believe his eyes, as the stats for magic is incredible, so he immediately asks her to join him and be her vassal. Ray tells him that this girl is a thief, but Ars doesn't care and promises a comfortable life with salary and good food. The girl looks down at Ars and tells him that she would rather die than work under some spoiled noble child like him. According to her, all nobles are evil people who fill their coffers at the behest of poor people. She herself was taken in as a slave for a noble, but she ran away, and that's why these guys were trying to capture her back. Ars tries to reason with her and tells her that she would make an excellent mage, but the girl replies that she has never even tried magic before. Ray realizes that it's a lost cause and asks the girl to return the pouch bag, which she does without arguing. Suddenly, a bunch of small kinds enter the alleyway and start huddling around the girl, as it turns out that she is taking care of these orphans and feeding them. Ars feels bad and gives her the pouch, and they soon leave as the evening sets. Later that night, Ars sits on the balcony. wondering whether he will ever find such talent again when they hear a bunch of kids crying and screaming for the thief girl. They immediately head down to ask the kids what happened, and they all cry about how 3 men attacked and took Char with them. Meanwhile, Char is taken to the other side of the city where the goons throw her down on the floor in front of the slave trader. They start beating her up, but she takes all the damage without letting down a single drop of tear from her eyes. The slaver tells the goons to be careful with her face, as the perverted noble who wants to buy her wants the face to remain as pretty as possible. The goons promise to be careful, but one of them spots the pouch of money that Ars gave her, so he takes it off, only to find out that it's loaded with money. Suddenly Char gets up and snatches the pouch back from the hooligan and tries to make a run for it. But the goons are faster and manage to catch her again and pin her to the ground. The slaver tells her to accept her fate, as even if she manages to escape, she will simply live a life of misery, always running away, and will die a horrible death. Before he could break her spirit any further, the door swings open violently, injuring the man guarding it as Ray enters the room, blocking the first punch and dealing with the next 2 goons with extreme ease, as he throws his knife at the guy standing next to the trader. The slaver immediately tells everyone to stop, so they can talk. But Ars ends up running into the room and asks Char if she is fine. The girl seems to be surprised to see him here, while the slaver realizes that this little kid seems to be a noble because of the way he is dressed and the way he talks. The slaver calmly asks what he could do for him, and Ars replies that he wants him to free the girl at once. The slaver replies that he can't do that because he is not doing anything illegal, as it's perfectly illegal to sell slaves in this county. Ars tells him that he doesn't care about all of that. When Char ends up telling him to run away if he wants to save himself, he turns around to look at her and checks her stats once again and finds out that her ambition is 1, which means that she has totally lost hope for any future. He starts blabbering about how every person deserves to have a hope and a future that they can look up to, which the slaver finds very amusing and starts laughing, as the only futures a slave can hope for is serving a good master respectfully. Ars gets mad and tells him to stop laughing, as adults are supposed to make sure the children stay safe, and claims that it's up to her to decide what she wants to do in the future, and not scummy slavers like him. Char is deeply touched by this speech, as she thinks about how she can't remember the last time that she ever cried. Ever since she was young, she had to deal with life alone as she wandered around the streets, staying in dark alleyways during the rainstorms and even winters, while she looked at people who had life much easier. She was forced to steal to make ends meet, and even then she couldn't sustain herself or anyone else, no matter how hard she tried. Watching someone stand up for her made her emotional, as tears starts flowing down her cheeks. The slaver has had enough though, and claims that he was talking very respectfully because the kid was a noble. But now he is interrupting business for no good reason, and he is a little too early to be this woke. A bunch of goons come down the stairs and gather around them as he threatens to hurt them. But Ars simply looks at Ray, who tells him not to worry as everything is under control. One of the goons tells Ars to shoot up as he hates yappy kids, but Ray grabs him by the throat and lifts him up in the air before slamming him to the ground, telling everyone that they have made a huge mistake by trash-talking Lord Ars, and now they are going to pay the price for this crime, which is death. He takes out his dagger, while a hooligan breaks a bottle, and tells everyone to surround Ray as he is alone. This doesn't work, however, as Ray dodges each and every blow with elegance and precision, while he slashes a couple of them in the abdomen and throws his knife at another one. Before he could continue, one of the goons grab him from behind with a knife, but Ray simply slams him to the ground, scaring the slaver, who calls for the mages. The 2 mages immediately chant their basic fire spells and shoot it at Ray, who easily slashes through their magic and beats the crap out of them as well. The slaver is terrified at this point, so he finally calls for the trump card, as a giant of a man erupts from upstairs, guzzling down some ale as he walks down. He asks what the ruckus is about, and the slaver explains to him what's happening, which angers the man as he gets ready to kick these people out. Char tells Ars that this guy is a giant problem, and that he should run away, but Ars checks his stats, and tells Char that it should be an easy match. And just as he said, Ray easily dodges the first attack by hanging from the chandelier, and then jumps down to kick him in the face. The man gets pissed and rushes in to grab Ray, but he is way too strong and good at fighting, and immediately ends the match by a clean uppercut to the chin, which knocks the fatty out. The slaver is pretty scared by now and tells them that what they are doing is illegal, but Ars takes out a pouch filled with coins and tells him that he will buy her. The slaver claims that he already sold the girl to another noble, but Ray steps in and tells the slaver that they are taking the girl anyways, so he can take the money if he wants or stay penniless and deal with the other noble. The slaver ends up folding at this threat and accepts the money, legally selling Char to Ars. By the time they exit the slaver's office, it's already morning. But before they could go anywhere, Char claims that she wants to show them something. She takes them up to a hill where Ars struggles to walk, looking just like me, but finally reaches the summit only to see the most beautiful view of the town. She claims that this was her secret place to come whenever she felt down and wanted to show them as a token of gratitude. Ars takes in the gorgeous view, while Ray hands her a magic locket to test out how strong her magic is. She puts it on her neck and warns them that she doesn't think she has any magic as she has never tried it. But the moment she chants the spell, a huge wave of mana surges out of her, creating a massive fireball that explodes in the sky, stunning everyone in the town, including Ars and Ray. After that, she meets up with the orphan kids once again and promises to visit them as soon as possible before leaving on a journey back to Ars's home. After they finally reach back, Ars meets with his father, who at first thinks that Ars got a new dishwasher. Ars tells him that she is an excellent mage and will prove effective on the battlefield, but his father rejects her, claiming that women belong in the kitchen, not on the battlefield. To prove her worth, Char fires an insanely strong fire blast in the sky, shocking Raven, who immediately folds like a deck of cards and welcomes her to the Luvent family, and they all go inside, ready for the adventures waiting to unfold the next day.